member of the black snake family. Now you can see here he's got that big buffy head and those big puffy cheeks there. They're his venom glands. Most snakes, when they bite, they inject between 2 to 3 mils per bite. These guys here, they bite, they latch on, and they can inject up to 16 mils per bite. They really pump that venom in. So for anyone that missed the start of the show, I explained that most snakes have pretty poor eyesight.
That's not a good time for a technical glitch.
Get in! He's coming to get you.
You're gonna have to really yell.
Come on. Alrighty. So as I said guys, most snakes do see movement. So I'll show you what we do if we come across a snake in the wild. I'm just going to move this guy here so I have some room because he's a big active snake. So if I'm at home, I'm walking around in my backyard and he's not coming out this hole down here, is he guys? I've got to have some fun. Makes my day go quicker. So if I'm walking along and this guy's here, if I stop about here, he doesn't really know I'm here at the moment. So we stop. We look. He's not showing any signs he's scared. He's not flattening his neck. He's not lifting his head. All he wants to do is hide in my first aid kits. So all we do, we keep an eye on him. We back off nice and slowly. When you get to a safe distance, you run, you go and tell mum and dad there's a snake in the yard. It's in their problem. But what happens when we're not paying attention? We're walking through the bush, we step over a rock or a log, and we realise there's actually a snake there. I'll show you now. This guy loves making a mess of my first aid kits. So here I am, I'm out walking around in the bush. And here's this guy. If I stay still, he has no idea I'm up here. If I start moving, it'll be like a 10-story building above us moving. His only defense is to bite me. I can yell at him and scream at him as much as I want. He's really not going to pay any attention. We're like having kids or a husband, I guess. So all we do is we sit and wait. Once he's moved far enough away, you can turn and you can run. Probably straight to the toilet to change your pants after that, but it is better than being bitten. Alright, so now we'll move up the ladder. This next snake I get out comes in as the 5th most venomous snake in the world. But don't let this guy's size fool you. If he had bitten you before anti-venom had been invented, it was almost certain death. That's why they named him the Death Adder. So you can see here, I'm not walking around with him by the tail like I do the other snakes. That is because this is the fastest striking snake in the whole world. These guys here, they strike out at over 300 kilometers an hour. I was at a show a little while ago, I said that nearly everybody took a step back. There was a lady at the front that pushed her husband straight to the front. It was amazing. Now these guys here, they are ambush predators. We can see that tail goes down to that fine tip that's a different colour there. We call that a caudal lure. So what happens is he'll lay down under sand, under leaf litter, and he wiggles this little lure in front of his face like a little hypnotic grub. Animals come along, and they really pack a punch. So we used to find them commonly all around Australia, apart from Tasmania. In Queensland here, unfortunately, cane toads really took a toll on them, like a lot of other animals out there. With all the land clearing we're doing, we're destroying their habitat. They love to be in that scrubby undergrowth where they can hide. So the more land we clear, the further they're moving away. So we don't see them in the wild as often anymore. So we go from a snake here, that most people will never see in the wild, to a snake, if you have seen on the east coast of Australia, chances are you may have seen this next snake. This is one of the most commonly encountered snakes on the east coast. This is the eastern brown snake. So this is the second most venomous snake in the world. Unlike the death adder, that's moving right away from people, these guys are adapting to humans really well. They're moving into our backyards, sometimes even into our houses. They're following the little feral house mice we introduced a couple of 100 years ago. They'll flick that little tongue out like they're doing now, and they'll follow that scent. So if we've got rats and mice around the house, the best thing we can do is get rid of them. The other thing is they hate open spaces. That's why that mulga goes over there and messes up my kits. He just wants to hide. So if we've got things like sheets of tin, old tarps, even the firewood pile lifted up off the ground. If there's no food, no shelter, there's no reason for these guys to hang around. So you can see this guy is quite brown. He's also got quite a bit of silver through him. The snake I use quite often is pure black. As juveniles, they can have bands across their whole body, a black patch behind their head with a red stripe. The name brown snake is a very misleading name. Just because it's not brown doesn't mean that it isn't one of these guys. So just leave them all be and we'll be okay. Now that brings me to the last snake of the show. He is my favourite snake. But before I get him out, I'll take a couple of minutes of your time, show you a quick little bit of snake bite first aid, something that may save your life or a loved one's life. Can I get a volunteer? I was going to say the hand went up like a rocket. Alright, so we just need a hand. So if we're bitten on the hand or up the arm, we treat it the same. We've got these nice stretchy bandages designed for snake bites that allow for swelling. If we have the watch jewellery, we remove that. Same thing, the swelling. So we start at the fingers. So I'll just get the snake out to bite you first, alright? No? We'll just pretend today? Alright, we'll just pretend. So we just start here at the fingers and work our way up. I'm not going to do it tight, mate, don't worry, it's only a show. We do it like you would do for a sprained ankle. It's not a tourniquet, we're not trying to cut that blood flow off. We're not trying to make fingers go blue or purple. So I will stop it here so we're not here all day.
Even if he spit on the finger,
yep.
you'd start at the finger.
Yep, finger here, we start at the same area. So we do that all the way to the armpit. We then sling it below. And his name is Cody. Now Cody is a beautiful black-headed python.
Alright, we want to go?
You can see he's evolved that head. I didn't dunk him in ink this morning to make him look cool because I reckon it does. He's evolved that head, so he only has to stick his head out into the sun and he can heat up his whole body from just that little bit of his head being out instead of laying that whole body out where he's vulnerable to attack. Pretty clever really, isn't it? Now being a python, he has no fangs or venom, but he can